You're listening to Art Heroes Podcast, the show to help you thrive as a digital artist. Tune in to learn how to transform your passion into a career. Get inspired by other kick-ass 2D and 3D artists, and find out what it takes to be an art hero.
Hi guys, this is Maria JD. I'm your host at Art Heroes Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. And for those of you who are just joining us for the first time, Art Heroes is a podcast for professional artists to help you grow as a digital artist, personally, professionally, and keep enjoying your career. Before I introduce our guest today, I actually have an important announcement. We at Art Heroes are opening registrations for the waitlist of likeness program, and we're really excited about it because we've been working on it for over 6 months. I bet it's been like now close to 9 months, and it's something that does not exist yet in the industry, and we really want to push the limit for everyone out there who's into realism, into digital doubles, into 3D humans. So guys, make sure you check out. I'm leaving the link here just under the video or in the show notes if you're listening to us in the audio form. So likeness program waitlist registrations are now open. Go check it out. And I'm happy to bring the guest for this episode. So today I'm talking with Jorge Bompart. Jorge is a 2D animator by life, I would say. He started working on paper and transitioned to using pretty much every software that exists out there, and he animates in his free time for his main job, and he just knows pretty much everything about it. So I'm really excited to ask Jorge all of my questions about animation and about becoming a kick-ass 2D animator. Jorge, welcome to the show.
All right, Jorge, we're now live. Thanks so much for coming on the show. And guys, again, this is Jorge Bompart today. I bet it's the first 2D animator we're having at Art Heroes Podcast. And it's our first podcast this year. So both things are pretty amazing. Jorge, welcome to the show. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much, Maria. Hi to everyone there. How are you? Hope you have a wonderful year or start of the year.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a new year, like a whole 365 opportunities to have a great day ahead. Jorge, so as we always do, I would let you introduce yourself first. Because I know your art, and I know that you're an Argentinian based in Barcelona for the moment, but that's not going to be the status for much longer. Well, anyway, and just go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you do. And
Maria, Jorge Bompart. I'm a 2D animator working with animation over 20 years now. I've been working for films, TV commercials, and now I'm working with video game projects. And I'm living in Barcelona. I'm from Argentina.
And how did you get started with the whole thing, and how long you've been in the industry?
Well, it's funny because since I was really little, I was very interested in the animation. And at that time, we are talking about the 90s, something like that, or something like, I don't know, 90s. And there wasn't too much to do back there, like schools or places where you can learn to do that. Also, it wasn't unthinkable to live from that. So I found a little ad on the newspaper that they were recruiting artists, new artists, for a secret project at the moment. And that ended up being a series for television. So I started working there. It was 1998.
Okay.
And I just started 2D animation there, even though I was doing my own researches on the past years. but not much information as YouTube or something like that you can find.
So that was
Now,
back in Argentina.
back in Argentina, yes, in Buenos Aires. In
And
Buenos Aires.
so was it like, help me understand that you actually like had very minimal skills before you got the job, or you already knew something?
Well, I was very skilled at drawing, for
Okay.
example, and at that moment, animation was made like the old-fashioned way, like on Disney movies, like with the big desks, animation desks with the light, the backlight, and the flipping and drawing on paper, actually. And that in that moment was the first time the technology becomes to came in into the animation field, and you have to scan all the drawings. So I used to draw a lot. I had my own acknowledgements of animation that I learned by being curious, I guess. And they test my skills, and right away I started working with animation there. And I started learning the fundamental in animation, working with people, with talented people. So it was like on the go. I was working, but I was learning also. It was a really interesting process.
Wow, how crazy. Like it
Yeah, really
sounds almost like a dream transition, like literally just taking
unexpected,
the skill.
absolutely
Yeah.
unexpected. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, tell me one thing, since you had to go through this whole learning process yourself, what do you think is the most important skill for an animator, since you had to transition yourself from an artist to an animator? Like, what's
Yeah,
the difference just in between knowing how to draw and knowing how to animate?
yeah, that's the big difference, because as an animator, I think you have to be very critic, and also have a in detail look of things. I always remember like playing myself, like looking at the movement of the leaves, for example. And I think what is different from an animator I mean, not different, but it's really important as an animator is to have the ability to catch things that for the normal eye maybe are unseen. And for me, okay, as a designer or hand draw guy, it was easy for me to draw anything I wanted, but to give a sense to that drawing, and I'm thinking about how it's going to move, or just looking at it like live. I think that's the main issue of and the most important thing for the animators. You can be an excellent drawer, or you can be not that good actually, but for the animation industry, I think the most important thing is the timing that you have on things, and the ability to look at things in a different way, because you are expressing with movement and with attitude on some things that are not easily recognizable by anyone else. So in my opinion, that is.
Yes, very interesting. I was just going to say that when I was preparing for our chat, I looked at your art station, and I'm just going to pull up the video now. And so, for guys that are listening to this in podcast form, we'll put a link in the show notes to the project that I'm talking about. You show composition breakdown, so multiple layers of one project. And for me, it was a little bit of an not like an eye opener, but it was just definitely a new way of looking at things, that every layer is animated. And
Yeah, and every animation has its purpose. I think, from my point of view, in my opinion, that should be the most important thing. It doesn't has to be with everything moving all the time, but that they move and interact like in an interesting way, that you can tell something, even though you are just blinking your eyes, for example.
yeah. What I noticed is that, for example, and I started after watching this composition breakdown on your portfolio, I started noticing this in other animations, that there is a shade moving, there is then, I don't know, like a leaf falling at the same time, an eye blink on the front, and then maybe something else, just like let's say raindrops in the back, and all of this is animation, but would, of course, like as a just a user, you don't, as a non-animator, you don't initially see that.
That's the way I see it, actually. For instance, when I have a one commission or I'm working on something, I don't know, it's hard to tell, but when I saw the picture, I can see exactly what it should be like moving.
Okay.
Like sometimes I don't move things at all, but the precise movement or the main movement of what at least I want to show covers all of that. So sometimes, and yeah, sometimes in other ways there is chaos everywhere, and I'm trying to get very detailed in things and but as I said, for me as an animator, um, for me a good animator should not be moving things, but giving things a character, an intention. You
Okay.
can move a box, of course, but there is millions and millions ways of moving a box. It depends on how do you want that the attitude of that box should be. So for me, that's really important. Not just moving things, because animators give life, doesn't move things. That's the difference. You
Wow.
put your own personality and your own perspective from that.
I love that. I love that quote, that animators give life, not move things. I think
Yeah.
it's a really good way
Yeah,
of
it's a really
looking at it.
it's a really confusing definition for animation, because in these times you have all the tools at your availability. You can use anything to do animation, and for me that is the main part. It doesn't it doesn't matter the tool that you are using, but the result of that. You can use many tools, you can have a lot of acknowledgement of everything, but you can do things just two or three or two one or two tools, or softwares or whatever, but the main important things is the way you are going to tell that.
Right. Right. So when was, like, talking about tools, when was the last time you used paper to animate?
Woo! It's been a while now. Yeah, many years ago now, because also as the tablets and iPads and everything came out, it was like more easier to be working on the way. You
Yeah.
cannot depend on some place to settle and work and make the animations. I also continue doing 2D animation, but using apps and using my tablet as a tool, because I can work on the go if I'm on the train, on the beach, after having a lunch or whatever. If I'm waiting for someone, and just take out my tablet and start drawing and start animating things. So I think it's been 10 years or so that I'm not working on paper, actually, for
Wow.
animation.
Okay. Well, I actually expected it to be
Yeah.
even more. I thought you were going to say something like, yeah, 20 years or so.
No, because it's funny. I used to make these little flip books.
Yeah.
So I count that as a paper animation.
Yeah, it is.
During
It
the
is.
summer, for example, I used to buy little books, little white books, where I used to draw and do my flip books on the way. So I take that as a paper animation
It
also.
is. It is.
Uh, Although it's not of the formal animation on paper that you expect to do, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been, I think, yeah, 10, 15 years, sure.
Do you know if there's, that's just out of curiosity, do you know if there are any studios or I don't know, projects that are currently done on paper, or pretty much the whole industry has transitioned to fully digital?
No, nowadays I don't know any studio that keeps on working on paper. I think some shows at Nickelodeon, I think they were using these old techniques because it was a requirement for the artistic part. Like
Hmm.
they wanted to look exactly. But no, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, keep on doing it on paper.
Yeah. No, of
I don't
course.
know.
That
Maybe I'm wrong. I
Yeah, yeah,
cannot.
but that makes sense. I mean, I was just like, that's a freaky question. I'm sure we can, like find someone really weird, but that's not a norm. Yeah, just want to make sure.
Although I know. What I know is that in some productions, still the backgrounds are made hand painted.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's just different aesthetics.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but for the animation, I think it's a very complex and expensive way
I
of
bet.
being in a production that's still working with for
Yeah,
the
yeah,
storage, for the value of things,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
for the fast move things. Also, you need to see things faster. So I don't think the animation precisely.
Yeah, no, of course. So, like, and coming back to digital tools, can you share a little bit about like your favorite tools? And I don't know if there is anything that you can recommend to people who are just, who want to get started, or just practice animating different, yeah, just different stuff. So, I mean, professionally and
Yeah,
personally, I guess it's a different workflow and different set of tools, right?
yeah. Actually, I've been asked a lot of that on
I
my social
bet.
media about softwares and recommendations and what do I use and what is my. That's why, even though I do not have enough time to make tutorials, for example, I used to and the process of what my animation looked like because of these questions. I mean, for what's my favorite tools? Well, I really try a lot of softwares in the industry, like well, of course, to Boom or TV Paint. TV Paint is more 2D feel like animation. Toon Boom, you can also do that, but you have the ability to work with bones. That is another type of animation that came out with this kind of softwares, where you put bones on the illustrations and you can move the bones, so you don't have
Okay.
to all the time be drawing things. In video games, there's a software called Spine. There is a software that it was designed for people from the animation background, but also the mobile games industry. So it is prepared for that. But when I get to know that software, because I've been required from a project and I have to learn to use it, I started to see the potential of this software. So I noticed it was really high actually, and I started to experimenting with it, with different kinds of animations, and not only for video games. And nowadays, that's my main tool, Spine and After Effects, of course, to make the compositions, the music edit and stuff. But what I recommend to people who wants to get in deeper into the animation and
Hmm.
don't know what to do, there are many softwares, of course, and there are many tutorials there in YouTube, and you can find information almost of everything now. But I really focus on what you want to achieve first, and
Okay.
then try try to find the limitations of the tool you are using, because all of the softwares nowadays work almost the same actually, and you can get the same results. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that your work is going to be better if you use one program or another.
Yeah.
It depends on the way you use it. So my recommendation is to find a software that is used to you and you feel comfortable with, and experimenting with that, not just get frustrated at first and changing all the time of software because you cannot solve something. I don't know. That's the way I used to work when I met some new uh, software or program, or I try to explore it a lot. Actually, I'm not a 3D guy. Actually, I really love 2D. 2D is my life. So I never dedicate myself to do things into the 3D area, although I should, because I've been told that I could be really good at that. Uh, but it's not a tool that it suits me,
Okay.
actually.
Interesting.
I'm more
Actually, I
like an
wanted to ask that
old-fashioned
too. Yeah, I wanted to ask that too, how far you are from 3D. And actually, if you see, like, there is a major difference in animating 2D versus 3D. Well, I mean, I guess there is, but I was just like, I'm wondering what are these differences from your perspective as a 2D animator?
Yeah, even though now we are in a technological in time that we found a really good stuff made on 3D. For me, the 2D have this special thing, this special connection with the hand, and even though if you are using difficult digital tools to make them, I don't know, I feel like the 2D is more approachable to people and more um, in some sort of way more likable, like more
Okay.
funny, more warmer. I don't know. It's something like the perception of the technique on the animation. Although I repeat, I saw really good stuff doing in 3D, imitating the 2D, but
Yes.
it doesn't. I don't find it like it's not necessary for me. Like if you
Yeah.
wanted to do it in 2D, make it in 2D, but I don't know. I've never been captured that much by the 3D. Although I worked in many projects, most of them are commercial TV commercials with 3D, like coordinating, or I don't know. Sometimes we make the 2D animation before, and the 3D also captures that movement, but not directly. I think it's not my time yet, although I'm a little bit interested in it. I think it's not the right time for me to start doing things in 3D. I have
Okay.
too many things to learn still from the 2D world that I enjoy much that process and that look and that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think it's
no, there's just
warmer. I think
this
it's more,
aesthetic.
you can
Yeah.
feel more the artist.
So, I actually have a couple of more of like professional side of this related questions. Although, well, pretty much that's what we were talking anyway. But I was curious also, what's the timeline normally of like one project? So, let's say when you're hired for a gig, like how much time would you take to animate a scene? I don't even know how that's measured. Is it measured per minute? Is it measured per like can you talk to me a little bit about timing? So how long would it take you as an artist to produce a certain amount of work for the client or for the project?
Yeah. Well, my last 3 years, I've been working on a studio. I was I was not doing freelance things because I didn't have time actually. And this project was for a video game.
Okay.
So there we have some deadlines. Uh, but in this case, in this kind of project, I only did the animation and sometimes the post. So because even though you're working with digital animation, you can leave things on rough, and then you have an assistance that like the process of 2D traditional. That this
Yeah.
assistance takes care of cleaning up everything and complete the sequence. But so I cannot exactly say, because after that you have other process to make that
Okay.
other people take care.
Okay.
But if I have to speak for one of my personal project or my animations that I used to upload on the
Yeah.
social media, because most of the professional things I cannot upload because of NDA
NDA.
and stuff and copyright things. Yeah. So if you want to know about, I don't know, maybe the animations I have on Instagram or so, it can take me like between a week and 2 weeks to make a final animation.
Okay. Okay.
Because I have to dedicate some time after work to do this, and sometimes I cannot. I have other obligations, so I cannot be all the time. But I would say, yeah, a week and two for I don't know, maybe 1 minute of animation with sounds and everything.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I would say so.
And what would be, a typical project for if assuming you were taking freelancing gigs, what would be a typical project that you could work on as a freelancer? Because studio, obviously, you've got a big team, you're part of, the whole like a big project. Yeah. So what happens with freelancing then?
Well, at the beginning, I was not taking commissions and I was not doing freelancing. But this last year, I did because uh, I I am very lucky actually to get all of these commissions all the time, and people write me and ask me about my availability to participate in projects and stuff. So I have the chance to choose if I'm going to be
Oh,
freelancing
okay. Oh,
and
great.
occupy my spare time doing work. I can choose. Luckily, I can choose between projects,
Okay.
and I've been working this last year on a project, another video game that was on it was for mobiles also. It was really funny actually, and I really loved the art. So the characters were so inspiring and so funny that I wanted to participate. So for me, it's like I don't know. I always try to choose the things I'm feeling useful to do.
Okay.
It's not the things I like only. It's the things I can be useful for the team or for the project. And
Okay.
I think that's my main thing. Like being comfortable with the compromise with compromising in doing some things
Mm-hmm.
as an extra or freelancing. And yes, and sometimes I got to animate mascot from different another studios require me to animate a character that they need to do a bumper or something like that. So small
Okay.
things, but things that I can relate to.
Cool. So, typically, would there be? I'm just. That's more a question about kind of an industry like standard or an average. Typically, would you be the only animator working on a piece? Let's say if it's, for example, freelancing, or would you be joining a bigger team? Like let's say several animators working on the same piece, or would you have like full ownership
Well,
over one thing?
it depends. It depends on the
Really? Okay.
project. It
Okay.
depends on the project. When I was on the studio, I was the main animator, so I've had the responsibility in all the decisions. And now I'm starting a new project where I'm also at the moment the only one responsible for the animations. I mean, we are talking the character animations because there you have VFX and another stuff that other people take care of. But for example, the last project I did the last year, this game, I was in charge of the main characters, and then all the enemies, other characters, people animated, because it was funny when this game came out. I started seeing some colleagues on Instagram posting about their animations, and they have animated into the same project. I didn't know, but they animated secondary characters or whatever. So it was really funny. I was like writing to them like, "Okay, you participate in this project too. Oh, cool. Why?" It was really funny actually. But it depends. It depends on the project, and it depends on the um, on the stage of the project.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
sometimes you started at the project, or sometimes you are just join the project later. It
yeah.
depends.
I see. And is there any difference in between animating characters for game versus for TV commercial, for example? Like, I mean, in style or just in some details, how the work is delivered and performed?
Yeah, there's some differences because as an animator, you always, and if you're working digitally,
Yeah.
if you're working digitally, you have to learn, always you have to learn on what you are going to be moving.
Okay.
Meaning there are always some technical stuff that you have to take care of and
Okay.
get to know. Because for me, I was always working for TV commercials, or sometimes, yeah, when I was working for TV ads, for example, you have some standards and some limitations and stuff, not artistically speaking, but technically.
Okay.
Then we come to the digital or the social media, and then you have to take care about not being that heavy the file, to upload them, and they have problems of playing it. And in video games is also the same. You have to learn the technical, yeah, the technical stuff that
Yeah.
forbids you to do something or not, in
Okay.
order to the performance of the project. So it depends actually, but there is no limitation. You can do whatever you want, if it's for video games or 3D or TV commercials or whatever, but you have to work knowing the possibilities and the limitations most of the
Right.
time.
Yeah. So I guess like the skill, from what I understand from you, the skill is still universal, and then the tools change and the limitations change, but still like the ability to see
Yeah,
things, it's
absolutely.
universal. It doesn't change from industry to industry.
Yeah.
Cool. How interesting. And so, just a very, personal take. I would be interested to know what moves you most in your work and in your career. So, like, why are you doing all this? Is it because I don't know? Do you think it's more for the process, or like, is there your some final goal where you want to see yourself?
Um, well, for me, is first of all because it's funny. I really enjoy getting lost in my own worlds, and be concentrated in things. But most of all, because I really enjoy watching the reaction on people. Like, I work for the audience,
Yeah.
I must say, because for me it's very interesting, what do I generate uh, to these people
Yeah.
with the things I do. And I always say that if you like something, there are another million people that might be like the same thing. So I like to experiment with that. I love to see the reactions, and what the people can take from that. That is the main thing for me that moves me to make animation. It's not such a personal thing, actually. I don't see it as a personal thing.
Okay.
I see it as a, if I can do something that modifies something or inspires someone, for me that's it.
Cool. Cool. I love that. And so,
I like to inspire people.
yeah, of course. And so, also on a practical level, we've spoken about, things that people always ask you, like the tools. But what is your best tip to beginner animators and beginner artists, or like artists who want to try animation as a career?
Do not get frustrated at first. That's the first thing. If you don't like the results of what you're doing, don't quit. Don't quit, because it's easily to, it's animation is a very particular thing. You have to dedicate yourself many hours, actually. And even though I'm working in animation over 20 years, I get lost and get my own conflicts and get my own problems, and things doesn't always came out the way I want, you know. So for me, it's important to be patient, to
Yeah.
dedicate yourself, and to really, 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 you really have to like animation to start doing animation. It's a really hard work. It's not that easy as everybody might think. I
Yeah.
think it's my, yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't
But
look
don't but
easy.
don't get frustrated. And for me, it's fundamental not getting frustrated, being patient, and be really, really, and extremely curious.
Okay. Cool. I love it.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Little tradition here on the podcast. There is a questionnaire of 10 questions. And
Okay.
to round this up, you'll have, I don't know, let's say a few words to answer each question. And I'm ready when you are.
2 words by question.
Yeah, like a few words. One sentence, let's say. One short sentence.
Okay.
Ready?
Okay. I'm
Okay,
ready.
let's go. So, what's your number one tip for combating distractions when working from home?
Ooh. Uh, Number one tip:
Yeah,
disconnect well from home and turn off your phone.
that's a good one. What's your favorite tradition or holiday?
My favorite holiday is one called San John here. It's the beginning of summer, and they used to make this big fire burnouts and on the beach.
Yes,
That's lovely,
and party
and
all
the weather
night.
is in, yeah.
Exactly. I love this one too. What's your favorite way to get in some exercise?
Uh,
Repeat.
Hello.
Yes, you
Yeah,
broke.
please. Exercise
Yeah.
in what kind of sense?
Yeah, just like your favorite way to exercise and like a sport or something or just something like
Oh, okay, okay,
that. Yeah, just like
okay. Well,
old school
I used to do.
exercise.
Yeah. No, I thought it was related to the
I
artistic
know.
part, like
Yeah.
exercising something artistically, just exercise. Well,
Yes.
I do yoga. I do
Cool.
yoga, and I also do like circus stuff.
Okay. Like
Like
acrobatics.
acrobatics, training on the rope, training on the bar, something like that. Calisthenics,
Yeah. Oh my God.
and
Okay.
also a little bit of climbing.
That is, I think, the most extraordinary what I've heard on this question. I asked it like 40 times already. I am. Anyway, so what's your source of inspiration?
My source of inspiration. Uh, my source of inspiration to give life.
Awesome.
To give life.
What's your most used emoji?
This small tree with little leaves, the green
Yeah.
one. Yeah, that one. Oh, we say
Okay.
hello, just a leaf.
Animation. Yes. Got it. What's the best piece of advice you have ever been given?
Um, the best piece was from an animator I once worked with. He told me, like, it doesn't matter what people say, but you keep on doing what you like, and don't quit. Actually,
Okay. Awesome.
don't or some sort of like, don't listen to others. Just stay focused on what you want.
That's really important. 100% agree. 100% agree. How do you celebrate little victories?
Dancing.
Yes, awesome. If you could see one movie again for the first time, which one? would you watch?
Wow. There would be many, but I think there would be Who Framed Roger Rabbit,
Okay.
because I was like blown away seeing characters all around the real world, you know.
Okay, awesome. And if you could choose two famous people to have dinner with, who would you invite?
Mm.
Dead or alive, doesn't matter.
Ah, could be dead also.
Oh, well, why not?
Yeah, yeah. If you have to choose, wow, that's a tricky one. Maybe I would have dinner with no, with Hayao Miyazaki from
Okay.
Studio Ghibli and the Queen of England. Yeah,
Oh my God.
absolutely. I have too
Oh my
many
God.
words, too many questions to ask.
Okay, 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 fine. And finally, last one. What's your backup career?
Backup career meaning?
Like, if you were not, if you were, if you weren't an animator, who would you be?
Well, the other day I was talking about that with a friend of mine, and I would be an excellent therapist.
Okay. Oh my God. I bet this year your services would be highly solicited.
Yeah,
And
yeah. But
sounds
for
like
me,
they already are.
the secrets of the minds are really amazing. So I would be a really good therapist.
Okay, amazing. We could have a separate conversation about that, I bet. Okay, well, that's it. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate all of you for coming on the show, and
Thank
it was
you,
really
Mia.
interesting to learn. Thank you so much for sharing all of this, and would love to have you again at some point. And like all the best with that
Yeah,
new
you, whatever
project
you
that you're
want.
starting.
Hope you enjoyed this moment with you as much as I did. And
Yes,
thank you very much for the interview. It was really nice to meet you and to be
sure,
talking about these things. Hope
sure, of
it
course.
helped in some sort of way.
Yeah, let's stay in touch, and thanks for coming again. Cheers.
Thank you guys for being here. If you liked the episode and got something out of there, make sure you give us a little like. That really helps us keep working on the show. We're with you every week. And before I go, I'll remind you again that, like this program, waitlist registrations are open and the link is there in the show notes. We're going to be launching a bunch of free likeness and anatomy, facial anatomy materials for those of you who are working in 3D and in ZBrush. So make sure you click the link, and we'll be shooting you all of this content in about a few weeks' time. Meanwhile, bye for now, and see you next week here on the podcast. Ciao.
Thanks for listening to Art Heroes Podcast. Check out www.artheroes.co for show notes, more interviews, and free tools made for you by our team of mentors. Tune in next week for more inspiration, and keep up the great work, hero.